Yeah, we're back live. Woo! Excellent. While I'm stalling for people to get into the live chat, uh, just a reminder, what is today? Thursday? Yes. So I have you next week, what? Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Just as a reminder, Wednesday of next week, I will be out. Just a reminder for people to be ready to go with the Chromebooks. I'm also doing this for the people who are live as well, because there will be since I will be out Wednesday, this doesn't affect you guys in class, but it does affect those in the live stream. Since I'm going to be out Wednesday, there's not going to be a live stream, but I do have a system in place for taking attendance, for submitting something online, once obviously the assignment is completed. So hopefully we'll figure that out. Anyway, my plan for today, as I start seeing those comments in the chat, thank you for those. My plan for today, number one, I want to review a little bit of method of sealed bids. I want to review that. I do have a quizzes set up to review, which we will be getting to in a little bit. And then with the time that we have left, I do have one additional fair division technique that I want to go over with you. It's not going to be the last one, but one additional one for today. This one is quite interesting, but I'll save the reveal for that dependent upon how much time we have left when we get there. So what I'm going to say is this. In order to review method of sealed bids, I'm about to, what's the words? Not submit, post. I can't even think of words today. I'm about to post the PDF of the problems to the Google Classroom stream. Now, for you guys here, I'm going to bring up the problem up on the big screen. But obviously, if you want to see a better visual of it, instead of behind these dividers, then obviously, you can use those electronic means to view it. That's up to you, though. I'm about to post this thing. Let's see. Now, what I'm posting is a PDF that has a lot of pages on it. Now, what I decided to do was, I wanted to get practice with fair division, but I wanted to get this method and this method and this method and this method. Why don't I just do one post instead of like a million little posts? I'll do one PDF that has all of the problems on it so that I can refer to it as the fair division chapter PDF or something along those lines. So that PDF has been posted for those of you in the live stream. I'm going to flip my camera over just to show you what it looks like. This is what, why am I zoomed in so quickly? Hold on. Yeah, I'm at 150%. There we go, much better. This is what it looks like, just for the sake of argument. It's pages out of the book that I write, that I teach out of. It starts at page 113 and it goes all the way down to page 122. It's like 10 pages, but we're not doing every page in here. I'm only doing select problems. And what I would like to focus on is, again, for those of you in the live stream, it is page 120. Let me just make sure that the glare is not in the way of that thing. But it is page, yep, there it is, perfect. Page 120, you can see it right here in the live stream. That is page 8 of the PDF. And the problem that I'm going to be focused on is number 51 right here, about method of sealed bids. So like I said, I wanted to take an opportunity to review this information and to give you an opportunity to calculate some of the stuff. So what I'm going to ask, I'm not going to have you write down every word, but I would ask that we do put the table in a concrete location. So if you would, I'm going to need those notebooks out and open. Ooh, a note. Sorry, I'm looking at a desk and I see a folded up piece of paper and I'm hoping it's a note. It's probably nothing. Yeah, it's absolutely nothing. This is the biggest disappointment of my morning. That was my second biggest disappointment. There we go. Not making that shot. Anyway, what I would like you to do in your notes, and I'm going to do the same thing in my notes in a few moments. is I'm going to copy down the table. Not all of the words and whatnot around it, not the intro, not the questions themselves, because we'll deal with that, but just this table. And like I said, for those of you in the live stream, it's that PDF has been posted to the Google Classroom so that you would be able to take a look at that. Let me see how much I can actually zoom in here. Oh, that's a search feature. Zoom in, zoom in. Oh, sweet. Okay, that's decent. That's not bad. See if I can bring that up on my phone here. Google Classroom and the discrete math. Come on. Oh, that's the PDF for today. I want to bring up the live stream here. I was talking about it with my wife. Do you guys know what the next couple of days mark the anniversary of? Yeah, when the school shut down. Yeah, we shut down on the last day we were here was Friday, March 13th of last year. That was my wife's birthday. Yeah, her birthday's on Saturday. So, man, because I was thinking about it, I was looking over some of my past notes, and I'm like, and I'm like, whoa, this is like when I started like live streaming. This is when I started like, whoa, oh my gosh. Anyway,
It's been so long.
In the eye of the beholder. Some people have had longer years of their life. Yeah, I know. For you guys, it's like, holy crap. That was like, you guys are like, what, like 17, 18 years old or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's like 1/18th of your life, Whereas for me, it's just like, 1/37th of my life. So no harm, no foul. We'll do it again. Anyway, so this is method of sealed bids practice. I'm going to show you what I'm writing in a little bit. I'm just copying down the table, as I'm sure you guys are as well. Today is March 11th. I'm just putting it so I have it in my notes. And the situation is we got 3 people, Annabelle, Chloe. Thankfully, their names are in alphabetical order. And they are bidding on a dresser, a desk, a vanity, and a tapestry. What a ridiculous combination of items. I mean, I understand the dresser and the vanity, but like a tapestry, whatever. Anyway, so the 3 of them do something similar to what we did the other day, where they were able to bid on these items. They don't know beforehand what each other is bidding. The only thing that they have to be assured of is that whatever they bid, they should be able to afford financially. I'm going to forego the dollar signs. You can you can put them in if you want, but I'm going to forego the dollar signs just simply because I'm like, meh. Some of these items may have sentimental value. I'll give you an example. My grandmother died in 2006. Yeah, my grandmother died in about 2006, and when she died, one of my older sisters was adamant that the only thing that she wanted was a typewriter from her apartment in Brooklyn. And I'm like it's an old busted up typewriter, but it's like an antique thing. But the reason why she wanted it was just simply because every time we went to go visit her, Chloe really wants the tapestry is what she says. But every time I went to go visit my grandmother, my sister would always play on that typewriter and like type things or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, I know that, for my parents' house, my parents are a bit older. My sisters and I have morbidly already called certain items. I don't know. If you guys have siblings, one day you'll get into that mode of like, okay, when mom and dad die, I get this and you get this. It's really morbid, but I don't know. So I called an antique domino set. You guys ever played dominoes? Like real dominoes? Double 6 dominoes?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Mexican?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
All right.
Like something...
There's different versions. There's like Mexican train dominoes, double 6 dominoes, double 9 dominoes. We play the real version. It's a Puerto Rican double six dominoes. But the domino set that my mom has is legitimately made out of elephant ivory. Yeah, when it was still able to be sold. Anyway, going off on illegal things. Here we go. Anna, Belle, Chloe. Here's the table. Let me double check my numbers. Hold on. Come on, you. 150, 180, 170, 400, 300, 150, 200, 250, 500, 260, 160. There we go. Good. So as Sydney said in the chat, Chloe really wants that tapestry. She really wants that tapestry. Clearly, but these are the bids that they put in. They don't know what each other is going to bid. They have no idea. And they should be able to afford this financially. So first thing, who gets what? Who gets the dresser? Yay, good job, Belle. I'm going to circle that for Belle. Belle gets the dresser. Clearly, at this point, it's like, oh, it's literally whoever just bid the most money? Yes. For the first part of this, it's literally whoever bid the most money. So desk goes to Anna. Vanity goes to Chloe. There we go. And tapestry goes to Chloe. I had to think about that for a second because I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, right. I was hoping that like one person would get like 3 items, but that's not this example. They decided to do it a little bit more evenly. So if everybody walks away with what they have, I guess everyone's happy. They might be happy, but it's not fair. You ever do that thing where it's like, you're trying to split something with someone like French fries, and you're like, no. You take the last one. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? No, that maybe you might walk away happy, but that's not fair. You might be like, well, I wanted them to have it. No. This isn't about making other people happy. This is about everyone walking away with a fair share. That's kind of the understanding that you have to go into it with. Because clearly Anna could be like, well, all I wanted was the desk, so I'm happy. Doesn't matter, Anna, you get compensated. So let's figure this junk out. First of all, let's figure out their totals. The totals are the total amount of value that they would attribute to all 4 items. So I'm just going to calculate this up real quick. 150, 180, 170, 400. Anna believes that everything is worth about $900. Oh, look at that. Belle believes that everything is worth about $900. That's a coincidence. There we go. And Chloe believes everything is worth $1,200. Now, because of this, if you're just Anna believes that since everything is worth $900 worth of stuff, what dollar amount does Anna believe she is entitled to? What does Anna believe is a fair share? 300. Because you divide by what? Well, 3 being the... Exactly. The number of people, the number of players. You always divide by the number of players, not by the number of objects. So I'm going to put a fair dollar value. For each of them, you divide by the number of players. So in this case, Anna thinks that 300 is fair, Belle thinks 300 is fair, and Chloe thinks that 400 is fair because you take the total amount and divide by the number of players. So I'm actually going to put their names at the bottom here so that I don't have to keep pulling the paper to see who's who. Clearly, I know it's an ABC order, but I just want that for consistency. Now, Anna believes that she is entitled to $300 worth of stuff, but she only got the desk. She only got the desk, which she values at $180. Is Anna going to end up paying money, or is she going to be getting money? How much money? 120. Yeah. Basically, fair dollar value minus the amount that they got. In this case, Anna got 180. So she is going to be getting 120. I did this the other day where I had two little rows right here. Not everybody organizes it like this, but I like to. Basically, if you take the fair dollar value and subtract the value of the objects, if it's a positive number, in this case, Anna gets that amount, 120. By the way, I'm saying Anna because of Frozen and not Anna. Okay, nobody gets me. All right. She's not paying any amount whatsoever. Oh, now this is a weird situation. What's so unique about Belle in terms of like the value that she's getting or paying? Yeah, she got exactly what she bargained for.
Yeah.
She got exactly what she bargained for. For consistency's sake, we could just fill these in with zeros. That's fine. Now for Chloe, oh man, as Sydney said, she really wanted that tapestry. Let's see, 260 and 500. The tapestry and the vanity is $760. Going to subtract that. Clearly, it's going to be a negative number. But I'm not going to label it as negative. It's just that she has to pay that amount. She has to pay $360. It's like she's the net money negatively walking away from her or whatever. Now, of those $360, 120 of it is clearly going to Anna, whatever. Now I'm messing myself up. Belle's getting nothing for the time being. Well, let's figure this stuff out here. Surplus. Chloe pays the 360, and 120 of that goes to Anna. 360 minus 120. Why am I even bother reaching for a calculator? $240 is the surplus. $240 is the surplus, just extra money. Chloe wanted to be fair, or not that she wanted to be fair, she had to be fair. So she had to pay $360 in order to meet the fair dollar value. That money is temporarily held by an intermediate person, like a lawyer or some junk. And 120 of that is specifically going towards Anna. So there's 240 left over. As we discussed last time, what's the fairest thing to do with a surplus? Yeah. Divided by the number of players. 240 divided by 3 is 80. That means $80 back to each player. So we can do a settlement. Now, to talk about this problem real quick, I'm going to go back to the PDF, and then I'm going to come back to this page. If you go to the PDF, it says to describe the first settlement and compute the surplus. Now, the first settlement is what we did right here. I'll point my marker at it right here. It's what we did right here with getting and paying. That's the first settlement. The allocation is who got what. Dresser, desk, vanity, tapestry. That's the allocation of items. Then this is the first settlement. Well, in order to settle things up, first and foremost, Anna gets 120. Chloe has to pay 360. That's settling up the first settlement. Then that first part also asks to compute the surplus, which is exactly what we just did right here. We computed a surplus divided by 380, 80 going back to each player. But then the PDF itself says, describe the final settlement. And the final settlement is when you disseminate the surplus, when you give out the surplus back to each person, whatever. Do you guys know, I don't know if you've ever thought about this. You know how the United States government is like constantly in debt? Did you know that the budget, there's a difference between a debt and a deficit, okay? There's a difference between a debt and a deficit. A debt is what we owe to other countries. That's the national debt that's continually climbing. The deficit has to do with the budget in terms of income versus expenses. It's really weird. It has to be a balanced budget. The United States has not had a balanced budget since 2001. It's pretty crazy, in 20 years. In fact, around 2004, there actually was, not 2004, 2007. Around 2007, in the United States government, there actually was a surplus. You know what they did with that surplus? They took the amount of the surplus, they divided it by the number of adult Americans, and they sent us checks. Yeah, this legit happened. The idea was that they wanted the American people to take that surplus and put it back into the American economy by spending it. Most people didn't. Most people tried paying off debt and other things and saving. You know, this is more of an economic thing, but if I hand you a check for like $300, some people would pay off debt. Adults would pay off debt, but some people would go out and pay for things, right? It's kind of like you're relying on the American people to make the decision for themselves. But what if that surplus, instead of being handed to you in the form of a check, was actually given to you in the form of a tax cut? And then when you got your paycheck, it was slightly higher every time. Subconsciously, now that your paycheck is slightly higher each time, you might unknowingly go out and spend more money. It's a psychological thing. But I'm just saying that legitimately happened. I bought a keyboard. I did. I still have it. Anyway, back to this. $80 back to each person. We have to do a final allocation or a final settlement. Anna originally got $120. She's getting an additional $80 and the desk. So Anna is getting the desk and she gets $200. The $120 from the first settlement plus the surplus. Belle is getting the dresser, didn't get anything in the first settlement, but is getting the surplus. Gets $80. Whereas Chloe is getting the vanity and the tapestry. Why didn't I write the name Chloe? Chloe is getting the vanity and tapestry. Originally had to pay $360, but is getting $80 back in the surplus, so she only has to pay $280. Let's zoom in on that a little. As we discussed last class, if this is done correctly, then the amount of money that Anna and Belle get, which totals $280, should zero out with the amount of money that Chloe pays, which is $280. That should work out perfectly. If it doesn't work out perfectly, then something went wrong. But this is the process for method of sealed bits. Okay. I want to get a little practice in. Like I said, I do have a quizzes kind of set up for you to practice with this. I'm going to set up the quizzes code in a moment. I'm going to make the answers available to you as you're doing the quizzes. So you're going to see whether or not you got the problem right or wrong as you are going about it. I'm going to suggest that you do have something to write on while you're doing this, just in case you need to scratch out some work. And of course, a calculator if need be, or something along those lines, just in case. So, Nicole, you're doing this on the phone, right? Okay, I'm going to hand this to you, just so you don't have to keep switching back and forth if you have to do some calculations. So let me get that quizzes going. Here we go. Flip that back. Make that small. Here we go. Start live. Classic. Some of these questions might be repeats, but that's okay. On. Shuffle. You know what? I'm going to throw on redemption questions. Let's just do it. So if you do get it wrong, you do have an opportunity to get back to the question. Just make sure that you write down whatever information is necessary. And, does that say disclaimer? No, it said default timer. Okay, I said disclaimer. Boom. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to type the code into the chat, although I don't believe that people will need it because I figured out a way. I don't know why it took me so long, but I figured out a way to make the code visible above that glare. 492801. There we go. Put it into that chat. Let's get into this thing. I want to get this thing started. Some of these questions, like I said, they're definition questions. Some of them are, at least. Some of them are like just, they'll take you 10 seconds or less. Some of them might take you a little bit longer. Some of them you might have to really dig and actually calculate out some stuff before you get into it. So, woohoo, we'll get it done. I know these Chromebooks that they gave to you guys. These Chromebooks are at least like, I want to say like 5 or 6 years old. It's like I don't know what they're investing their money in. You know, sometimes it just feels like they're just like, hey, let's just create this new position and give somebody a salary. Okay, cool. I don't have a smart board yet. You know, I've never had a smart board.
Please excuse the interruption. Mr. Kevin Peters, please call the main office. Mr. Kevin Peters, please call the main office.
So what happened was when I first started working here in 2009, around like 2010, 2011, they started getting smart boards. And everyone's getting smart boards and getting them installed in their boards and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh, snap, I want a smart board. Never got one because by the time they got to me, I was like, you know, only 3 years on the job. I was one of the last hired. As a result, I was lowest on the totem pole for getting a smart board. So I never got a smart board. But they did install an Epson projector. There got holes still in the wall right here, but they installed an Epson projector, which is like a smart projector. It never worked. It never worked. It projected, but it never actually, I couldn't interact with it. It never worked properly. Like, what the heck? So ultimately, they uninstalled it once the bulb died. And they gave me this thing. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll work with this thing. But then, you know what they did? And you've seen it in some of your teachers' classrooms. You've seen the brand new, like, smart TV boards or whatever, the black ones? Yeah. Hey, it'd be nice if the guy who never had a smart board could get one. Nope. I guess not. I guess I don't have that much pull. Just saying. Anyway, let's get this thing started. Click.
Can we look at our notes?
Of course, absolutely. It's a practice. Mm-hmm. just kept going. I did put on redemption questions, remember?
Oh, I miscalculated for my last question. literally just got the documentation wrong, so I thought I was.
Oh no. I'm just going to give you guys about another minute to kind of wrap this up, those who are still knocking out the quizzes. Well, there were redemption questions. Okay. Click, click. All right, I just want to see what kind of questions that we need to be focused on. Because this thing will tell me about the questions. Let me sort them by accuracy and jump down to the bottom. Oh, interesting. Okay. Let's talk about this. They want to know what is the total surplus of the estate. Now, normally I would say like, well, if all of you got this wrong, is there something wrong with the problem? Or, and I see based on the choices that you guys picked, is there something wrong with that? I don't know. Let's see. Total value of the surplus. Let's see. Player A got this. Player C got this. And player B got this. I'm going to try to very quickly. Oh, can I borrow that calculator? I'm going to try and very quickly try to knock out what should be done for this because I just want to see. So I'm going to add up their total. I should leave the cap off the marker. There's the total that they felt the value of the estate was. There's the total. And there is the total. Divide all those by 3. 825. Well, that's 900. That's 1,000. That's the fair dollar. Oh, they can't hear me right here. Oh no, for the ones that are. Oh, gotcha. I'm trying to do the fair dollar amount. Player A got more than what they bargained for, so they would pay $380. They got less. No, they got more than what they bargained for, so they would pay $100. And they got less than what they bargained for, so they would get $100. There we go. Now look at what I wrote on that last line of work. I just quickly went through, totaled up what they thought the value was, figured out the fair dollar share by dividing by the number of players, figured out, okay, well, player A got $380 more than what they thought was fair, so they would pay. Player B got $100 more than what they thought was fair, so they would pay. And player C got $100 less than what they would pay. And if you do, well, 380 plus 100 minus 100. Squeaky, squeaky. But yeah, that's the total surplus. And then they would divide it up from there. Let me see something here. Hold on. Is 380 divided by 3? Yep. I'm assuming that's 126.66 right here. That's what each player would get, but they wanted the total surplus of the estate. It was a weird word choice. So if you did pick 126.66, then you were on the right track. It's just that you took it a little bit too far. There we go. That question was weird. I like that question, though. Let's see what else we got here. No, that one was accurate. Here we go. Go to this one. In method of sealed bids, adding the value of the items won, cash flow, we haven't talked about cash flow per se, and the surplus will result in which of the following? Well, if you're accounting for the surplus, now the cash flow is just a term I haven't used, but the cash flow is like getting and paying money. It's like it's kind of flowing in that instance where one or two people might be paying money and a couple people might be getting money. But then ultimately there's a final settlement with the surplus. Once you get that surplus in there, once you disseminate that surplus to the individual players, you have gotten to the step of final settlement. Say again? Net cash. That is something that has nothing per se to do with what we're talking about. Let me think of it in this sense. So I have an income from my paycheck, and I have expenses for the month. Income versus expenses, I can easily just figure out what they call revenue or something like that. I guess if it's like a business or whatever, but I'm a person, so I don't know. I can figure out precisely what my quote unquote net cash is for the month by simply taking income minus expenses. Now, net is a bit different from, I want to say gross, because there's net income and then there's gross income. But clearly it wasn't one of the things, but yeah, net cash. I've never heard it referred to as net cash, but that's weird. to this. Ooh, interesting. 3 players are sharing a pie. Suppose that the pie is divided into 3 slices. The following table gives the values of each slice in the eyes of the player. Which of the 3 slices are fair to 80? Okay, well, first of all, you don't necessarily know who the divider was. It wasn't one of these 3 people. It wasn't. But what would be considered fair? First of all, if you added up the value of 80's slices and you added up the other ones as well, oh no, they would actually total different amounts. Okay, so let's actually do it like that. This is like method of sealed bids now. If I just look at 80, squeaky, squeaky, and I just total $5.50 plus $4.50 plus $5.75, I get $15.75. That's what 80 feels the pie is worth. This is similar to method of sealed bids, where you have to figure out the total, and then divide by the number of players, or slices in this case. I'm going to divide by 3, and I'm going to get $5.25. $5.25 is, in 80's mind, a fair share. As long as she gets $5.25 worth of pie or more, then that is what would be considered a fair share. What are the only 2 prices for 80 that are equal to or greater than $5.25? Say again? Which slice? S1 definitely, because it's worth more than $5.25 to 80. That's it. Because they're both greater than or equal to $5.25 for 80. 80 felt the pie was worth $15.75. Just like when we did the method of sealed bids for the car and the TV, you guys put a value on what you felt both of them were worth. And then we can figure out a fair dollar share from there. Again, this is just practice. This is meant to be practice. Oh, here we go. Let me jump to this one. Haha. Unfortunately, I forgot to delete this one. Yeah. If you notice right here, it says using the last diminisher method.
Yeah, I didn't know if I just missed that.
No, I have not taught it yet. The last diminisher method is slightly, I'm going to emphasize the word slightly more complicated than some of the other methods that we've been doing. Like divider chooser, oh, cool. One divides, the other chooses, cool. Lone divider, lone chooser, we've done those. Method of sealed bids we've talked about. My hope was to get to a method of markers today. Not actual markers like drawing markers, but like markers as in you would mark a spot. But unfortunately, I don't want to shove that into the last 5 minutes. It does involve candy bars, but they are fake candy bars. So I wish I had real candy bars. Oh man, I should get like mini candy bars. You know what I'm talking about? Aren't they cheaper? Is Halloween candy cheaper now?
I don't know.
Is anybody allergic to peanuts or chocolate? Okay. Sorry, those of you in the chat. I might be bringing in candy next time. I might be. Yeah, might be. I don't want to emphasize.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. So last diminisher, I apologize. I should have taken that off, but I don't want to explain it now but I will teach it eventually, probably by the end of next week. Fair dollar share for player B. Oh, isn't this like the same table that you guys like did over and over again? Fair dollar share for player B. Well, 1,200, 500, and 1,000 are the values that player B put into the bids. Divide that by 3, 900. Yeah. Fair dollar share. I have used that phrasing. Net cash. Now I got to Google that. See if it's like actually what I think it is. Define net cash. Net cash is a figure that is reported in the company's financial statements calculated by subtracting the total liabilities from the total cash. Okay. Cash does have a definitive meaning in the world of business then. You know what I'm saying? It's like cash on hand, cash that you have the ability to spend. Cash that is accounted for through liabilities is like a subtraction to the cash that you have on hand, let's say. So, yeah, I haven't actually heard that phrase net cash, but it has more to do with investing in business.
I clicked it. I didn't even know what it was.
I got you. Let's see. 4 heirs must divide an estate consisting of a house and a cabin. In the initial allocation, what did player B receive? Well, player B only outbid everybody for the house. Remember, the allocation is basically who gets what object. That's the allocation. The first settlement. Oh, Sydney says I should send her candy via FedEx. Anyway, the first settlement is basically, okay, we got to figure out who's getting money and who's paying money. And then the final settlement ends up being dissemination of the surplus. Assuming there is a surplus, which for the most part there is. How much of an item a player thinks they're entitled to? Fair share. Yeah. Fair division is just like this overall chapter. But what they're entitled to is a fair share, or I write fair dollar share or something along those lines. Oh, nice. We'll do this one and then I'll wrap up here. Alexis buys a cake that is half chocolate, half strawberry for $12. Okay, Alexis. He values chocolate 3 times as much as strawberry. Okay, so what is the value of the chocolate half of the cake to Alex? If he values chocolate 3 times as much, in my mind, the easiest way to think about this is by just creating a mini equation. He values chocolate 3 times as much as strawberry, and overall the cake was $12. If you solve this, you eventually get x is equal to 3, which means that 1 share of the cake, or the strawberry half is worth $3 to him, which ultimately means the chocolate side is worth $9. But of course, you could have just taken $12 and just figured out the ratio of 3 to 1. That's probably the easier way of going about it. But sometimes it helps, especially if the numbers don't work out quite nicely. Okay, I'm going to wrap up there. I'm going to remind you all, I have to remind you all, that I had posted a fair division practice worksheet into Google Classroom. The worksheet has a a method of sealed bids problem. It has a divider chooser problem. It has a cake division problem, all on there. I want you guys to get the practice with that. This is just considered a homework. This is not an assessment. Homeworks are not graded the same way that assessments are graded, of course. But that actually, just to give you all the reminder, will be due tomorrow. I made it due tomorrow at the end of the school day, so that if you had the opportunity to work on it today, great. If you have the opportunity to work on it tomorrow, great. Just make sure that I get it before the end of the school day tomorrow, and that'd be fantastic. And then we'll all high five on it. And like I said, I can't promise candy or chocolates for Monday, but having mini chocolates on Monday would definitely help me explain method of markers a lot better. So I got to get like a bag of like mini chocolates now. Any preferences? Any chocolates that y'all hate? Okay. I'll tell you a quick story. I saw a guy give like a motivational speech, and he was holding a chocolate bar the whole time. And he said by the end of the speech, he would be giving the best behaved person the chocolate, right? And then at the end of the speech, he gives the chocolate to the kid, presents it to him. And he's like, go ahead, take a bite, take a bite. takes a bite out of it. It was baking chocolate. Very bitter. Unbelievably bitter. There was a metaphor to the whole thing. I didn't quite get it, but I did remember the kid hating the bitter chocolate.
I was like,
Yeah. Anyway, I won't do that to you guys, but I will see you on Monday. All right. If you have not left a comment in the chat, please make sure you do so and have a good day.
imagine being the best behaved kid and then getting
Oh. I think it's like the idea.